Good evening and thank you for joining us. Obviously a huge event last night, the Stanley Cup Finals, but Carly, from a sports fan's perspective, that's not really what we're going to be talking about too much tonight.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit of a disappointment after disappointment, really. You've got double disappointment.
On top of it, eh?
Yes, very much so.
Definitely. We'll get to that right away. Gerard, what are we looking forward to in the weather?
We're getting some more rain possibly this evening. We got some last night. Let's have a good look at what we're dealing with right about now. The clouds have cleared off just a bit, allowing some sunshine to come on through. But look at that humidity. It's already climbing up in the 70s and likely to get even higher. 16 we're sitting at, down from, well, we're sitting at 16 since about 2 o'clock. The winds continue to gust out of the south-southeast, anywhere from 17 to 33. And what we're looking at as we compare across the region as well, we have been under a watch for possibly weak tornadoes since about the midday hour, and in the Lakeland region what you've been dealing with is a watch as well for possibly severe thunderstorms. In the Battlefords, not the case. Overcast conditions for the better part of it at 14 degrees Celsius. In terms of how much rain will be falling later on, we'll find out that in our second segment.
Well, this is all most people are talking about, and locally people are weighing in on last night's chaos in Vancouver. Jack Haskins caught up with some Border City residents to get their thoughts on last night's riot.
The end of an epic hockey series is now a source of shame.
The day after the Stanley Cup Final, it seems that nobody is talking about the game, but everyone is talking about the riot.
Vancouver fans are a bunch of babies when they lose.
I think it's terrible. Like, it makes all of Canada look pretty bad, I think.
It's just poor sports. If they don't win the game, then they don't win the game. They should just learn to be happy for whoever won. They played their hearts out and everything else, so I certainly don't see why they would freak out and burn cars and stuff, so.
Trouble was on the horizon long before the riot took place. People were flocking to downtown bars before the lunch hour to secure a place to watch the game.
You basically had to start lining up at 11 a.m. and start drinking in the bar, waiting for the hockey game, which starts at 5. So when you've been drinking for almost 12 hours, there's going to be consequences.
Just moments after the game had ended, the hooligans turned violent on each other and towards the police.
It's as soon as they start becoming physical, using force, throwing weapons, beer bottles, stuff like that at us, at that point then we can use as much force as necessary to control the situation and get back control of the situation.
The cosmetic damage to the city will eventually be cleaned up, but for many, the stench of shame and embarrassment will linger for a very long time.
I'm feeling two things. I'm feeling really disappointed that a city this nice could turn that ugly, and it's also actually got me contemplating if that's the type of city I want to live in.
Jack Haskins, Newcap News.
We have more now on the psychology of the crowd. Fights erupted in place of cheers on the streets of Vancouver last night and left many people scratching their heads how a loss in a hockey game could cause such violent and disgraceful behavior. Robert Buffum has that story.
Flames engulfing cars, windows being shattered, brazen looting and wanton violence. Scenes more reminiscent of war-torn Libya than laid-back Vancouver. Violence that left many locals baffled.
Just seemed to go on, and I think everybody, I can't speak for everybody, but I know a number of close friends are very upset about it and just shocked that it did actually go that way.
This psychologist says it's simple. Too much booze, a few bad apples, plus the anonymity of a crowd equal a perfect storm.
If we can dilute the responsibility over 500 or 1,000 or 3,000 people, it gets pretty darn easy to do these kinds of things and walk away with a clean hands and clean conscience, right?
Riots did rock the city back in 1994 after a Stanley Cup Finals loss, but this time was worse. The violence and damage more widespread. Much of it egged on by crowds documenting it with their cell phones.
21st century bystander effect, really, is because I was there and I can prove it and I can share it, and that's social media and that's the internet.
Social media is also impacting the fallout from the carnage, with several Facebook pages up hours after the dust settled, including one to help with the cleanup and another with over 50,000 people trying to help police identify the rioters. As Vancouverites try to heal their wounds from a heartbreaking loss in hockey, they're also hoping several hours of violence won't decimate the goodwill generated by the Olympics, plunging a return to no-fun Vancouver.
Well, a number of business owners that had their windows smashed are calling for, the end to big public celebrations like we had last night.
After last night, it's unlikely hockey fans here will be given unbridled access to celebrate in public anytime soon. Robert Buffum, Newcap News.
One woman is dead in what Cold Lake RCMP are calling a suspicious death. Police responded to the call around 9 last night. EMS and RCMP found the woman's body at an apartment building in the city. Police have one man in custody, but no charges have yet been laid. The woman's name is not being released until the next of kin have been notified. RCMP say the investigation continues and an autopsy is expected later this week. 3 people from St. Paul are facing charges in an alleged multi-million-dollar foreign worker scam. Calgary RCMP say the director of Kehew Energy Services, 43-year-old John Lipinski, his wife Angela Lipinski, and another director, 38-year-old Calvin Steinhauer, have been charged.
Well, right now we've laid charges, 3 charges in particular against 3 individuals from northern Alberta. Those charges in respect to essentially what is a scam, bringing over Polish workers that were skilled in welding, machinists, that type of thing. And once they're over here, bringing them on what essentially is a student visa, but they never did hit the schools, the colleges. They were put out to work on subcontracting, and then the company that brought them over simply profited by not giving them all the money that came through for their work.
The accused will be making a court appearance on July 25th.